Nithyananda, everybody, eternal bliss to you all. If you want to manifest, awaken third eye, awaken kundalini, really expand your consciousness, any of the basic spiritual concepts that you could possibly think of, this meditation is exactly what you need to hear. It's extremely powerful, and along with this meditation and all the other techniques and sciences of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, they are so empowering, so enlightening. And all you need to understand is really three main concepts, three important contexts to understand. The first is your individual soul. The second, we're going to talk a little bit about karma. And then the third is the understanding of the universal operations. And once you have these three pieces aligned, this meditation technique can really awaken you to a whole new way of life. So I highly recommend listening to these three things. They will be very profound. They'll help you awaken to higher states of consciousness. This was revealed by my guru recently, His Divine Holiness Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva. Before we get into these three first contexts, I want to introduce myself. My name is Sri Nithyananda. If you're new to the channel, I'm an ordained Nithyananda Yoga Acharya, and I spent 3 years living in India, and I was trained directly under my master in yoga. Along with that, I've learned a lot along the way and continue to learn every day from him via his live stream satsangs that he conducts online. Highly recommend checking those out before we go any further. So the first thing that you need to understand before diving into this meditation technique, and that you have 25 heads, like what do I even mean with that, right? Just stick with me. The first thing is that you may already know this, you are an individual. You have an individual state of consciousness. You are known as Jiva, the Atman. Now, whatever you perceive yourself currently in this moment, or whatever you perceive yourself to be even in the future, until you release that identity, until you no longer have that perception of I, you will always be Jiva. But once you do separate the identity, that's when you become Shiva. Now, Shiva, that ultimate state of consciousness, the all-pervading consciousness, is who you really are. And we'll get to this whole purpose of life after number two. Number two is, I want you to understand karma. There's various different types of karma. There's three types of karma. You have sanchitta karma, agamya karma, and prarabdha karma. Now, sanchitta karma is all of the karma, all of the deeds that you've done that you need to get rid of almost in all of your lives combined. So your jiva, your soul, comes to planet Earth again and again and again, basically to burn off of all of this karma that's in the bank of sanchitta. And so you'll take a birth and you'll take a little bit of that karma called prarabdha karma, and you'll come down onto Earth and you'll burn it off, and then you'll pass on, and then you'll take another body, take some more karma from sanchitta karma into prarabdha karma, burn it off. Now, when you start to accumulate karma in this birth itself that you weren't planning on picking up, that's called agamya karma. So what you need to understand is that liberation, the purpose of life, is for your jiva, your atman, to unite with the Brahman, the cosmic consciousness. And the process of that is getting rid of all of these different forms of karma. The third understanding is how the universe operates. So in the Agamas, some of the most sacred Hindu texts, Paramashiva, the creator of the cosmos himself, reveals that he has 25 heads, 50 hands, and 75 eyes. Now, what does this mean? The common person, the Western understanding of God is that God generates, operates, and destroys. But in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, that's only three aspects. Sanatana Hindu Dharma, there's five. The first is Srishti, Sthiti, and Samhara, which is generating, operating, and destroying, much like the common Western understanding. But the fourth and the fifth is Trobhava and Anugraha, which is putting into delusion, pulling out of delusion, and then and liberating you, enlightening you. So in the concept of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, how we approach the very life, how we approach everything, is these three points are really important to understand before you dive into this meditation. Now, these five aspects of life, Shristi, Stiti, Samhara, Anugraha, and Trobhava are always happening in the outer world. If you think about it, anything in life, there's always a creation aspect to it, a maintenance aspect, a death aspect or destruction, an aspect where it's in delusion, and then an aspect where it's relieved or enlightened, released from that delusion. Really, if you sit down and meditate on anything in life, there's these 5 concepts. Now, these are all happening in the macrocosm, and it's all happening in your microcosm, in your inner world as well. In your inner space, you're always going through these 5 phases of life. Now, what Paramashiva describes himself in the Agamas is he has 25 heads. Means all of these 5, Shristi, Stiti, Samhara, Trobhava, and Nugraha, into each one means 5 into 5 would be 25. So he's talking about ultimately 25 different states of consciousness. My guru says 25 different states of consciousness and 11 dimensions of the universe. So when we ultimately relieve ourselves from this individual identity, and we cognize ourselves as Shiva, as Paramashiva, and we meditate upon Shiva with 25 heads as ourself, this is a direct key for us to obtain enlightenment, to achieve higher states of consciousness. And what's really interesting is how modern science is now proving that the brain can actually cognize or experience 11 dimensions. The brain has that ability, which is exactly what my guru says, that it's 25 states of consciousness and 11 dimensions of the universe. So the purpose of your life right now is for your individual soul, your consciousness, to burn all of the karma, to attain and you're going through this life cycle of birth and death. It's not just this one happening, this one birth. It's continuous. And you're going through this process, this game of life. The rule is, and the not the rule, but the laws are this creation, operation, destruction, being in delusion. We're in delusion right now that we're this individual identity, but we're ultimately here to get liberated, be pulled out of delusion. This meditation, meditating on Paramashiva with 25 heads, is a technique, a direct technique by my guru and by the various different texts in Hinduism, specifically coming from Agamas, to help you achieve that ultimate state of consciousness. And so I'm not going to dive into the actual meditation in this video. What I want you to do is just sit down and first cognize. If you need to rewatch this video, I would do so. And I'll even put a link in the description down below of my guru explaining these 25 states of consciousness even more so, because it's quite in depth. It's quite profound. Now, just one final tip before you do that. If you get overwhelmed and you're like, well, I can't even hold on to that visualization of having 25 heads. It's like overwhelming. That's understandable. The human mind is not necessarily attuned to doing that. You can literally sit and hold the space and just be Paramashiva. I'm trying to hold this visualization. I'm trying to maintain this understanding that I have 25 heads and they are to represent these 25 states of consciousness, and maybe it's a little bit overwhelming for you. That does not matter. Have the intention, this context, and with a sincere desire, with a sincere request, ask Paramashiva to land in you and explain or show this secret to the cosmos, this revelation for you. It will be a very profound experience, I could tell you that. It will only lead you to bliss. It will only lead you to greater spiritual experiences, a more awakened lifestyle, and more liberated. Each of those 5 dimensions of life will improve in every way. So I highly, highly recommend sitting down, visualizing yourself as 25 heads of Paramashiva. So you can even imagine like Paramashiva having all of his heads and your head being Paramashiva, and you might be like, well, what does Paramashiva look like? That's fine as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, holding the intention, holding the context, requesting that the divine show you what this means. Like, what is this 25 heads thing all about? Really, just like if you have that If you have that authentic curiosity, that's what matters in spirituality. You have to be authentic in your seeking. Truly be seeking the truth to experience your ultimate possibility, to experience 25 states of consciousness, not just the deep sleep, waking, and dream states. That's three. We're down, what, 22? Not just those three states. Experience the ultimates, the highest being known as Tuyatita. So have that deep desire, have that visualization, sit with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Be ready to accept and embody the divine and sincerely request and hold that visualization of either you having 25 heads or Paramashiva as yourself having 25 heads. And this meditation technique will help liberate you, liberate your Atman, your Jiva, and to unite it with the Brahman, with Paramashiva, so you can experience the ultimate state of consciousness. Now, one technique that always helps really give you a very powerful meditation is the unclutching technique, which my guru revealed as well. And a lot of the meditations I teach are basically just unclutching. I highly recommend checking that out as well. I'll put a link in the description down below for that too. So with that, I'll close out this session. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really hope you do sit down and give it a shot. It's very powerful, as I said, and it's something that can really help you on your path, no matter even if you're practicing Hindu or just a beginner to meditation. Have that sincere request, and that'll guide you itself. So with that, take care, everybody. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you'd like to learn more about yoga, meditation, anything that is going to help you have a super conscious breakthrough. That's what this channel is ultimately about. Again, my name is Nithyananda. Truly do appreciate your time here. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer those as fast as I can. And as always,